Oh, okay, okay. Then let me just give it this approach. Remember, when we are growing as leaders and we are becoming our best, leadership in itself is a calling. Yes, it's a calling. And take, for example, a CEO of a big organization. You cannot know every component and become very efficient in it. So that is why a leader wants people who are more competent than he is or than she is. A leader should be excited to have people who are experts in their domains. And your work is to ensure that they can become their best. And if we hinder this, then we are going to experience, we are insecure leaders, and we will not be able to grow much because we will try to thwart every effort of growth that a member is trying to make. And so it's important that we learn how to deal with, how to deal with experts. It's important to learn how to become a leader to people who are more capable than we are capable, because that is actually our role. We want them to grow and become their best. And in your case, therefore, what you need, one is there should be personal development, perpetual personal development, which will help you. You need to learn how to build relationships. I love saying that every relationship in a team is unique with the leader. Just like a parent, you'll realize that every relationship that you have with your children, every child is unique. It's a unique relationship. In a team, every relationship you build with every member is a unique relationship. So find a way to make these people become very excited to do what they are doing and to keep going for their best, in order that they will keep making the team better, you see, while they work together. So it's a very good thing to have people who are more competent than you, and it makes your work easier. All that is left for you is for leadership, of the leadership role, to govern the ship to where it should be. Somebody is an excellent accountant, somebody is an excellent maybe financial manager, somebody excellent in IT, whatever. Remember, yours is to bring all this together. And this is why this book is called The Making of a Symphony Orchestra. You want the best guitarist, the best oboist, you want the best vocalists to be here, you want the best drummist and everything else, everybody else. But then in order to bring them together so that they work and produce the ultimate goal, that is your role. The work of the orchestra conductor or the orchestra director is not to sing for the soloist, is not to outshine the person who is playing the trumpet, is not to outshine anybody, but to bring all this harmony. And remember, if we have that trumpet loud, too loud than what it needs to be, then it will be felt that it's out of order. Now, your work is to ensure that everything is within order and everything is running in harmony, in a symphony, and that's why we are making the symphony orchestra. So one is encourage that development, find a way to build that, find a way to build relationships that will be able to help them to grow and make a better orchestra. And that also means, remember we said that a leader is a generalist. You need to have a little grasp about everything so that you are not, you cannot be cheated. You can always give an idea. For example, we say that leaders need to understand financial statements. Yes, so that when you have an accountant will not be speaking Greek to you when they are explaining. You may not be able to make it, but you are able to interpret it or understand when you are given that statement. You should be able to understand, a grasp about maybe the IT department, a grasp about maybe HR, a grasp about things. You have just a grasp. You do not have to know everything, but that should enable you to give proper leadership, because yours is to ensure that people are moving towards that direction they should. And that includes keeping the mission intact, keeping the vision intact, and the core values, the culture, and the production is going on. I don't know whether that answers you, Maurice.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is very elaborate.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Monica.
Yeah, that was super elaborate and I've learned a lot. Then my question was, and I'm asking these for purposes of learning because I'm going through that challenge. How do you deal with these members of the team who have stayed in the organization for so long and they have stayed in the organization for so long because they started the organization when the organization was growing, but they didn't grow their capacity. So they can be promoted, but they can't do the technical work. So the organization has to hire people from the outside. So someone has stayed in the organization like for 10 years. Then number two, they are older than you, like 10 years, 15 years. Then now you are their team leader. And then your supervisor, she's not around because of two things.